Doctor, we don't have any problem with the second one on page 2.
No?
Oh, that's easy.
Well, remember your questions, because when we get to that slide, then I'll call on you.
Every 3 hours.
All right, so,
Foraging is
right. So energy. We're going to be talking about energy today. Now, if you look at, there's a difference in the type of energy that we're talking about, because if you look at the scientific definition of energy, it's work equals force times distance. Okay, now this is kind of what we're talking about, but this means energy is measured by the amount of work it takes to move an object, the force that it takes to move it, and times the distance that it moves, right? So that required energy to just move that controller that far. But when we talk about it, our concept of energy, a lot of times we're talking about mental energy. Because you might have just ate. Let's look at lunch. Anybody ever get tired after lunch and just want to crash? But you have all that food inside of you. That's a lot of energy. But we're mentally drained. We're mentally tired. Our blood sugar's here or there. So we're talking about mental energy, and we're going to be talking about physical energy. We're going to be talking about the nutrition type of energy, what your body's currency. We call it ATP. I'll introduce that in just a second. So the first thing we're going to discuss is the mental energy, how to get you more motivated and energized. The second half of this will be a little bit more practical, but it'll be the physical energy, how your body works and how it produces energy and how we can help it do that. Okay? All right, so mental energy. So has anybody ever been doing something they absolutely hated and it felt like time was going so slow, right? You were just sitting there at whatever it was you were doing that you just really did not like doing, and I mean, it just creeped by you. Every time you looked at the clock, it wasn't moving. But then how many of you have been doing something you absolutely loved, been having a blast, and time just goes boom? Now, which one did you have less energy with? The one you hated. Which one did you have more energy with? The one you love. So these are not, this is not physical energy. This is not, it has nothing to do with caffeine, right? It has to do with an emotion or a feeling. And we see that thoughts also have energy, or we will refer to them as having vibration. And love vibrates at a very high frequency, we want to call it vibration. It has a lot of energy. Hate, that type of thought, has a lot of lower energy and negative connotation. So when we're putting thoughts in our mind that resonate with higher energy or higher vibration, it's going to actually give us the feeling of having more energy. It ties in with physical energy as far as vibration goes. You know what the difference is between hot water and cold water?
The temperature.
Good. Great. You're listening. So that's right.
The vibration.
It is. We now know. We didn't used to know that what heat was. They thought it was some kind of a liquid. They had no idea what its form was. But we now know that the difference between something that's hot or something that's cold is the molecule's vibration and how fast they vibrate. So in a cup of hot water, those water molecules are vibrating very quickly. In a cup of cold water, there's no vibration, or at least very little vibration in those molecules. So the more vibration, the more heat, obviously the more energy. Like, so if we had a steam engine, why do they keep shoveling coal into an engine? Produce more energy, right? To get it to go, get the train to move. So energy is a wave. It's a waveform. And so thought, have you ever heard of a thought wave? Thoughts can be waves too. And so you see, they've actually come up with different types of gradients, and there's no a really measurable vibration for your thought, right? They can't hook you up and say, this thought is vibrating this fast. What they do is they'll do a lot of psychology and a lot of different things, and they put a higher vibration feeling or thought, means that it's more, it builds you up, you feel better, you're happier whenever you're thinking these thoughts. You have more energy whenever you're thinking these types of thoughts. And then the psychology will look at when someone is depressed, whenever they have a lot of hate or anger or whatever it is. And so those thoughts they're going to say have lower vibration. So if we look on our chart, enlightenment, peace, joy, love, acceptance, willingness, when we focus on these types of things, we're creating massive vibration or massive energy in our mind. And when you're focused on that, it's very hard not to have any energy when you're doing something that you absolutely love, right? The opposite is true. Anger, fear, grief, apathy, guilt. On the scale, these feelings, if you're really wrapped up in anger and depression and guilt, you're gonna be very depressed. You're not gonna have much energy. You're not gonna be able to get through your day. And so mental energy is completely based on the way we're thinking or our thoughts in our head. Now, if that's true, that means that if we change our thought, we could actually change our state or our energy levels. Let me give you an example. So this is a very recent example. This happened to me last Monday. It's a true story. I was traveling along. It was lunch. In fact, Ryder had a parent-teacher conference over at his school across the way at Farney. So it's over there by Spring Cypress. And we got together, family got together. It was a big event. The twins were there and everything, and they were wild and crazy, right? But we got the parent-teacher conference done, and I'm headed back to work. And so I felt this it's just a monotony. You're doing the same thing every day. You're going to work. You have 4 to 5 hours ahead of you. It was just very low energy. And all of a sudden I got stopped by a fire truck that was right in front of me. And I looked up, and there was a really bad car wreck that had happened in the middle of the road there. And they were blocking both sides of the Spring Cypress of the road.
They got me trapped too.
Did they? Yeah. Well, I was right up next to it where they flew in a life flight helicopter, landed right next to my car, and they took this guy out on a stretcher. He looked like he was in bad shape. He was not doing good. They loaded him up on the life flight helicopter and took him out of there. And instantly, I had this feeling like, you know what? I'm blessed that I get to go back to work. Like that guy, he had no idea that was going to happen to him this morning. He didn't wake up thinking I'm going to be in a life flight helicopter. He would give anything right now to not be in that situation, to be able to go back to work like I was. And it changed the rest of my day. I'm telling you, I was happier. I smiled. I was like, I'm so grateful that I'm here, that I have my kids, that I just got to see Ryder and the twins. And when that situation happened, it wasn't the caffeine. I didn't have anything to drink. I didn't put anything else into my body. The only thing that changed was a thought, was a different vibrational thought, that I was grateful for what I had, and my energy level shot up, right? So that means we can manipulate this. We can actually increase our vibration or our energy just by simply changing our thoughts. So I call this SAT because meditation kind of sometimes has a negative connotation for people, so I call it soul awareness training. Or you could call it meditation if you want to. But no matter where you're at, you can do soul awareness training, and you can simply close your eyes and ask yourself a couple of questions. What are you grateful for? What do you love? Man, when I close my eyes and I think about what I'm grateful for, I think about my wife, I think about my kids, I think that I'm grateful that I have a house to live in, I'm grateful that I have a car to drive, I'm grateful that I live in this country, I'm around great people every single day. What do I have that others don't have? Well, imagine other countries. Imagine even this country. We have a lot to be grateful for that other people don't have in this country. What was I doing this week that made me happiest? So I think about, we did a color run this Saturday with the kiddos. We pushed the twins, and me and Ryder made me run the whole way. And I was trying to walk, but he wouldn't let me. And so we're running through these colors, and they're throwing. That was high energy. That was fun. So if I feel low, I feel like I don't have enough energy, I do a little soul awareness training, and I ask myself, what am I grateful for? What did I do that was fun this week? And I focus my thoughts on those higher energy vibrations. Just talking to you, my energy, it starts going up right now, right? Now, the big thing here, and something else that will change your vibration, your energy completely, is you ask yourself, what could I do for somebody else? What could I do that would make somebody else happy? So an example of this is I call this the law of energy. It's also called the law of sowing and reaping. But when you give something, then you automatically receive something. So it would be like if you wanted to give more energy, then you would get more energy. And you can replace that word with anything you wanted to. If you want more money, give more money. If you want more love, give more love. If you want more peace, give more peace, right? And so the law of sowing and reaping works in energy both mentally and physically. So an example of mental energy, we did a Christmas toy drive. We'll do it again this year. But last year, it was absolutely amazing. Patients came in, and they could get a free exam if they brought a new toy. So it wasn't just like hand-me-down stuff. These were really cool, awesome toys kids would love to get. And I got to personally take them downtown to a shelter where there was women and children there that there's no way the kid would have got a gift, and I didn't even get to see them open the gift. But just carrying those gifts, imagining those kids getting and seeing and opening and being able to give that brought me energy for days. I mean, there's no way somebody could carry those gifts in for children and be like tired while they do it. right? You would have to have a smile on your face. You would have to have energy. So if you just think about, in fact, Gina's birthday is on Wednesday, and I got her this necklace that is a heart, and it has the kids' names, Jason, Jane, and Ryder, and their birthstones. And I was so excited to give it to her, I couldn't wait till her birthday. So I just gave it to her. But doing that, giving it to her, made me happy. It made me very excited. And so it also made me see that every time we give to somebody else, it gives us energy as well. Now, the physical example as well. Now, if you give energy, you get energy. So why, it's a scientific fact. They've done studies, psychology have done studies. People who go to the gym regularly have higher energy levels. Now, why would that be? Or they report having higher energy levels when they're asked. But why would that be? Because logically, that doesn't make sense. You go to the gym and expend all your energy. So why would they have the most? Because of this law of giving and receiving. And if you get into the habit of going for walks, doing something that takes energy, then you will also get energy back. Okay? So that's the mental, that's the conceptual part that really makes it might even be more important than the physical part. You could really manipulate your energy levels just by changing the way you think. And we've seen several different instances of it so far. But physical energy, okay, anybody ever heard of ATP in the body? Adenosine triphosphate is what they call it. This is your body's energy currency. So every single cell in your body, and I'm not just making this up, you could Google it, ATP. Every single cell in your body is doing it. Actually, it's pronounced adenosine. I'm just kidding. And so every single cell has to make ATP in order for it to transfer energy and be able to use it and for processes to happen inside your body. Now, unfortunately, there's no really direct way to put ATP in the cell. You can't eat ATP, right? This is a small molecule that has a lot of energy bound up, and then when your other cell breaks that into these energy molecules, energy is released. But a healthy body regulates and produces more ATP than an unhealthy body. So that's why healthier people have more energy. So there are some supplements that I'm going to share with you, and I should have printed this off. I'll print this off for you guys too. But there are some very specific supplements, and some of them you'll recognize for people taking that want to have more energy. There's a reason why these supplements produce more energy is they help in this process of creating ATP. The first one is creatine. Anybody ever heard of creatine? Yeah, so and they say you really should be working out or being active if you're taking creatine. You shouldn't just take it if you don't exercise. But creatine, according to the University of Maryland Medical Center, it talks about the dose. The loading dose for exercise performance is about 5 grams of creatine 4 times a day for 1 week, and then you maintain that with 2 to 5 grams a day. But creatine is an amino acid naturally made by the body that can be converted to ATP, particularly during exercise. Okay? Anybody ever heard of CoQ10? Yes. So CoQ10 is also associated with energy. It's also called coenzyme Q10. But if this compound is involved in the body's production of ATP, it helps increase energy levels. Since CoQ10 is fat soluble, it's best absorbed by the body when taken with food. And also taking it at night, they found better results. You have more energy throughout the rest of your day. So it's not something that's going to keep you up and keep you from sleeping. Now, B complex, B vitamins. Everybody said take a B vitamin if you want more energy. Well, why? Because B vitamins are necessary for the body to produce this ATP molecule. In fact, specifically vitamin B1 or thiamine is especially necessary for the production of ATP. But taking a B complex ensures that you're getting all 8 B vitamins necessary for the optimal functioning of the body, right? So if you're working out or exercising, creatine can boost those ATP and those molecules and give you more energy. CoQ10 is something good to take before you go to bed if you're low on energy, and then a B complex during the day. Right? Great, awesome. So then your body's going to be able to convert and create ATP better. All right, so other physical factors we're going to talk about before we're done here is nutrition, and then exercise, like we mentioned. Sleep, we're going to talk about how to maximize sleep because sleep is very important, and then we're going to talk about function of the body. All right, so nutrition, and here's some tips. I printed these out for you here. But fruits and vegetables, the reason why you should eat more fruits and vegetables is because all of those nutrients we just talked about, including all the thousands of other nutrients and minerals and coenzymes and all the things that your body needs to function and be healthier, because healthier people have more energy, right, are inside fruits and vegetables. So every time, I know this comes up in every single talk that I have, fruits and vegetables. It's because it must be important then, right? So we need to make sure we're getting more of that.
What's the feelings on canned vegetables?
Canned is obviously not going to be as good as fresh, and a lot of times they're going to add sugar to canned.
Is it good at all on the body?
Probably
Probably not.
not. No.
What about frozen foods?
Frozen. Now I don't mind frozen. Yeah, because they're really not adding any type of. Usually, you could look on the bag. Usually, they're not adding any type of preservative to frozen, but in some cases they might. So you might want to check it. Now, here's one that you guys liked. Eat something every 3 hours. Okay, this is actually true. You should eat every 3 hours because going 5-6 hours between meals, it's going to cause your insulin levels to be off. So, like if you wake up at 7 o'clock in the morning, you'd want to eat. Now, there's another one of these that's important with this. Yeah, this one, the next one. Eat protein and a veggie with every meal. So if you're eating every 3 hours, you're eating a protein and a veggie with every meal, you're going to keep your insulin levels straight. Now, if you're eating a Snickers every 3 hours, that's probably not what I'm talking about here. But if you're waking up at 7, what I like to do, because I'm quick out the door, is I have hard-boiled eggs ready. I know a lot of people don't. That's not a very glamorous breakfast, right? But it's a protein. And so I'm out the door. Then I have a bar, either a raw food bar or a protein bar that I'll have at 10. And then I try to eat, usually it's closer to noon, but ideally it would be 1 o'clock if you just ate at 10, right? Then another protein bar, a raw bar at 4, and then we get home and we eat dinner at 7 or 8. So I eat 5 meals a day. That would be 3 hours. And so you wouldn't eat while you sleep. But you can actually take, and that's in here too, but you could take a couple teaspoons of flaxseed oil or fish oil before you go to sleep. Because if you eat fat before you sleep, you'll actually sleep better at night because your body's not going to be starving for nutrients. It just gives you a feeling that you're full. And it's actually good for you to eat that type of healthy fat before you go to sleep.
So if you take fish oil every day, you should take it at night.
Take it at night. I would try that, yeah. It may help you sleep better. Now, some people don't like the fish oil because they would burp it up or something like that, but so you could use a flax oil. But yeah, I would take that at night. Juicing spikes your energy levels. Now, I don't think you should just juice. You should still eat your fruits and vegetables. But on top of that, as a supplement, when you're juicing, especially if you're using vegetable juices, you not only get power-packed nutrients. Imagine, because you can't eat a salad this big, but you could take this much vegetables and just take the fiber out of that and power-pack the nutrients into a couple glasses, right? So you could get this much vitamins, minerals, coenzymes, all these crazy nutrients that are going to help you have more energy, and you could pack it into one glass and then just down it because it's not going to taste good, right? Yeah, so avoid carbs and sugars. Avoid carbs for lunch. So we talked about this crash that we have around 2 or 3. Most of the time, if we'll think about it, we had bread for lunch, we had maybe spaghetti for lunch, or something that had a lot of carbs, then we're going to crash. If we can stick to proteins, vegetables, and those types of things for our lunch, we won't have that major crash when we get 2 or 3 o'clock. So we want fats for lunch, especially if you're busy and have to work after lunch. Avoid soda, drink a lot of water, because how well your body's functioning, how well it's lubricated, that's going to be able to decrease the energy that you use all the time. Now, we talked about exercise, and I won't talk about it too much because the last advanced talk that we just did was about exercise, and everybody got the Workout with the Doc PDF, and if you didn't get that, just let me know, I'll print it out for you. So basically, the way we do exercise is we shoot for 3 to 5 days a week. We shoot for 5, you probably hit 3, right? And so 3 to 5 days a week, cardio, and this is on every time we go. And I go to the gym. You could do it at home, and that's why we have the Workout with the Doc, because we give you the TheraBand and exercises, so you don't have to go to the gym. But whatever you do, go to the gym or stay at home, there's 3 different sections of your workout. And I like to start with cardio, and that warms me up and gets me ready. And then I do a little bit of weight training, and then I'll do stretching as the cool down. And so my exercise, that might take me 30, 45 minutes. So I'm in the gym 30 or 45 minutes. Now, I know the serious bodybuilders. I have a good friend, Dr. Chris Zano, and he says don't do cardio with your weights because you won't get that massive look, right? So he does cardio in the morning, weights in the afternoon. So he's going to the gym twice a day. But that's for serious stuff. And if you're doing it for health and, you don't mind, like me, I'm not doing it for my looks. So already got that covered. Ask my wife. So, sleep. Who ever has trouble sleeping? Yeah? So I got some tips for you. Now, Every book, every study, everything is going to tell you try to get 8 hours of sleep. I don't get 8 hours of sleep every night. Yeah, exactly, which was right here. I recommend don't have twins if you want to get sleep. And that was definitely one, had to go in there. I'd probably get about 6, maybe 7 on good nights. But if we could shoot for as much as you could possibly get, close to 8, that really is ideal. And every study they've done where when we're just talking about health, 8 hours of sleep is the healthiest. But let me give you some tips so you can actually sleep a little bit better. So they say no electronics 3 hours before bed. For me, that doesn't work sometimes. I mean, especially in today's day and age, you got work to do on the computer. You got these types of things. So I invested in what's called Gamma Ray Flex Light computer reading glasses. You can find these on Amazon.com. They're like $20 on Amazon.com. But they help a lot. And what they do is they have a film that will block the gamma rays of light that are coming in off the computer that supposedly messes with your circadian rhythms. Okay? And I found, I mean, it didn't change my life. I didn't, like fall asleep as soon as I hit my head, hit the pillow, but I think it helped. And it just helps to keep that computer light from messing you up and not being able to sleep. Short 30-minute power naps. So if any of you ever gone home and took like an hour-long nap and then you feel more tired than when you did when you fell asleep, is because you just got into that deep REM sleep when you had to wake up. Right? So if you take a 30-minute power nap, you don't get into such a deep sleep. When you wake up, you feel more energized. So that's a good thing to do if you want to take a quick fiesta. Total darkness when you sleep. If a lot of people are sleeping with night lights and all these types of things.
Okay, so the next slide here is function. Okay, if you want more energy, if you want to be able to get more done during your day, we have to have a proper alignment to the spine. Not just because energy flows through your body, through that nervous system to every organ, cell, and tissue in your body, but if you think about it, those joints have to move efficiently. And if we have what's called subluxation, your spine's out of alignment, or if we have fixation, where your spine's not moving properly, you actually are using 2 to 3 times more energy for just normal movement and normal activities. When we're keeping your spine healthy in a normal alignment and moving properly, your body actually has to utilize less energy to do the same amount of work. So I always tell everybody, if you want more energy in your life, don't miss your adjustment. Make sure you're keeping regular chiropractic adjustments. It keeps your body functioning more efficiently and using less energy. So I have a testimony I want to share with you about the chiropractic adjustment. And so this young lady, said that my little girl, only 6 weeks old, was having difficulty sleeping and cried nonstop. I'd heard chiropractic could help infants. Dr. Tabor was very knowledgeable and helpful. He explained what he was going to do in the adjustment and why. He was also sure to show me how the pressure would feel, enough to ease the mind of any parent and assure them the adjustments are safe and gentle. My baby immediately slept better and cried much less. Everyone in the office was very sweet and helpful throughout our visits. The office has an overall warm family atmosphere. We will continue to utilize chiropractic care and would recommend Pure Life Chiropractic to everyone. So, and it doesn't just work on kiddos. If you want to sleep better, you want that body to just function better, then chiropractic is something you have to include in your lifestyle and put it in just like you would your diet or your exercise. You want to make sure that you're getting regular chiropractic care for you and your family. And I always tell everybody, you know what? You have to invest in your health. You're investing time and energy watching, and listening to these classes, these workshops. So, get it in your mind that I'm going to do whatever it takes to be healthy. The single greatest thing you could do for yourself and your family is to make health your number one priority. And I wanted to include a study at the end of this presentation. UCLA life scientists, they conducted a study using 32 female rats on 2 different diet regimens. One set of rats they kept on a healthy diet, and they said it was fish meal and ground corn was the healthier diet. And one set of rats, they featured high processed foods, like we talked about in one of our last workshops. There was heavy in sugar. So they followed these two groups of rats. In 3 months, the 16 rats that were on the junk food diet, the ones that were just eating tons of sugar, were fatter and appeared more tired and sedentary than the 16 that were eating healthier foods. So everything that we're talking about across this series of Pure Life University is going to add to you feeling better and having more energy. So here was one of the quotes from the doctors that was in this UCLA study. They said, "There's no quick fix," said Dr. Blaisdell. "Our data suggests that diet included obesity is a cause rather than an effect of laziness. Either the highly processed diet causes fatigue, or the diet causes obesity, which causes fatigue." Okay, so we have to be able to include all of these things in our lifestyle, and then ultimately we're going to have more energy, we're going to have more power throughout our day, we're going to be able to do more, achieve more, and that's what it's all about, helping you achieve your goals that you want to achieve. So I want to thank you for following us along this series of Pure Life University. Stay tuned for the next workshop, Pure Mind. It might be the most important, the most valuable, and the most impactful workshop yet. I can't wait to see you on the next one. Make sure you're sharing all this with your friends. Share it on social media, your Twitter, Facebook, everything. And let me know if there's anything I can do for you. All right? Thanks, and have a great day.